For Reaper Metal Productions, I am Adam of Unbaptized Records, making a brand new video for you today. And today I'm going to go over some of the music that's on my wish list. So obviously it's not going to be show and tell because clearly I don't own this music, that's why it's on my wish list. These are albums that have either been on there for a while or just added them. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. I really don't want to have a lot of a backlog sitting there waiting for me because there's going to be new music coming up pretty much every month, you know, for the rest of the year, probably for the rest of my life. So it's not like I really need to keep adding music that I want I'm never going to really catch up. So I'll always be looking for new music, which is good. I never run out of new stuff, but there is some stuff that's obviously been on my list that is important, and it's probably a bit more rare. Maybe it's going to be some of those gem type finds that are going to cost me a bit. So they're on the list for a while. I'm not really worried about when I get them, but I do eventually want to get them. And then some are new CDs or new albums that just kind of slip past me and I do want to grab eventually. So they're on my list, and that's like the first one. So that's the newest Machinations of Fate. I believe I actually pre-ordered the LP and CD, but I actually accidentally got 2 copies of the LP. So I gave one away. I listened to it. It's really good. I've had it on my Spotify ever since because it was a little bit delayed coming out. So that's just one of those CDs that's a newer album. It's on my list. I own the other Machinations of Fate on CD as well as the second album on LP because the first one was not pressed. So I definitely want to get all 3 of them because I enjoyed them. So that is on the list. Next is going to be the Sarcophago Necrovore split picture disc. So of course that's a bootleg. So unfortunately, I was hooked up by a homeboy. They got me the Necrovore demo, and then I went to play it, and the damn thing didn't work. So the guy's a con artist who was selling them because it was taking him an entire month to ship them out, and then they come to your house and they don't even work. So screw that guy. If you see him, I can maybe figure out who he is exactly and put him out. Maybe write it down in the comments or something, or tag it in the notes section. But that fucker sent me something that didn't work, so fuck that guy. Don't buy from him. But there is a split picture disc. It has 4 songs on each side. So Sarcophago side is Christ's Death, Desecration of Mary, Satanic Lust, and a 89 Rehearsal of Alcoholic Coma. And then the Necrovore side is Mutilated Death, Slaughtered Remains, as I say, Divus de Mortis, and Toxic Decay. So I definitely want to grab that. Really any other bootleg version of the Necrovore demos, because once again, that's goddamn too hard to find. So anyone who says you don't know the Necrovore demos, you don't know underground metal, okay, sure, but then make them available because I can't seem to fucking find them. So, or at least a copy that actually works, that doesn't take a month to get to me, and then the disc doesn't read. So that one's not my fault. I can listen to it on YouTube because that's just the only place I can get it for now. Otherwise, I'll just make my own bootleg version because it's basically the same damn thing anyway. So that one I definitely want to get. Next are 2 demos by the same band. So that band is Repugnant. So it was one of the first bands of the vocalist of Ghost. I really like both of those demo tapes. So we have Spawn of Pure Malevolence and Draped in Cerecloth. So I would definitely like to get both of those, but they are pretty expensive. And I also want to make sure I don't accidentally get screwed over and get a bootleg version because that would absolutely suck and be pointless. Next is a split live LP from, I believe, 2002 out of Parma, Ohio, and that is the Fuck the Posers LP. That is a split between Nunslaughter and Spawn of Satan. That one's been on my list for a while because I really enjoy Spawn of Satan, and they only have a few physical releases, and then obviously Jim passed away, so there weren't a ton of releases. One was done posthumously by Reaper. That's the double CD that I actually have copies of, and I've sold a few copies of, so I have that. I also have the split with Bloodsick. I do not have the CD, but I do have the LP. And I think Hell's Headbangers, that was their first release ever, was the CD. But I have the LP. I also have a split with, I believe, Sathanas that they did. For some reason, I thought it was Evil Angel. I mentioned that in a previous video. I think it was actually the Spawn of Satan and Sathanas split. But I have that 7-inch. And then I think that's it other than this LP, which also came out on tape. But I do not own it, so I would like to. And I also really would like to own the LP version of the Final Bloodbath Sessions by Mortician. So that one's on my list. I do have the CD. I did get it signed by Ronnie of Malignancy, who was also on it. So once I hopefully get to meet Will and Roger, I'll have them sign it as well. But I would love to get a LP copy, the Hell's Headbangers copy, which comes on like a red and orange or red yellow kind of merge vinyl. So that would be cool. The only other one on here that is a bootleg would be the Thy Kingdom Come. There's a full, like a LP versus the original 7-inch. I think it also comes on picture disc. I believe that's Reek of Death Records that did it. So either the picture disc or just the regular, but the 12-inch, not the 7-inch. I would like that. That came out fairly recently, but I didn't get my hands on it. And so I definitely would like that. Another release this one I know will never happen unless I pay full money for the original copy, which there is a CD and picture disc, and I think regular LP as well, but that is the band Impaled with their first release, The Dead Shall Dead Remain, and honestly, their first two albums are probably both on my list. So the Medicale, I forget what the fuck that's called, but they just did the demo of it too. So I did pick that up. I did pre-order that. But Mondo Medicale, the second album, I do not own that either. And that's also one that, because of the label, it's never going to get repressed because they're asking a crazy amount of money for it. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So unfortunately, that one's never going to probably come out. So I'm going to have to pay the big boy bucks for it at some point, which is fine. But it's not priority right now. So it is on my wish list, and it will... it's on the wish list, and it shall remain on my wish list for a while, unfortunately. Next one is a newer album, or a newer pressing of an older album, but it's the only album by this band to not previously have been on LP, and I own all of their LPs. And that is the band Hour of Penance, which I talk about a lot, from Italy, technical death metal, and the album Sedition. So, like I said, for whatever reason, that album got overlooked for an LP release. Everything else has an LP release. And it just came out on a couple different versions of vinyl color. So black, clear, I believe, and like a blue. And the blue one's the most expensive, and of course it's the one I want. And it's a brand new, album. I mean, obviously, again, old album, but brand new pressing. $35 for an LP, which is kind of ridiculous because it's a single LP. So maybe I'll just go with the clear, which is a little cheaper, because even my favorite band of all time probably isn't worth spending $35 on a single LP. It's not rare. And they had multiple pressings, so I don't understand that price. I wonder if some of it's because it's an import, and maybe they just have limited copies, but maybe I'll just go with the clear vinyl. I don't really know. Next, I really would like to get Eat the Decay, so that is the album Nefarious Means, and I want to get the tape, because as you probably know, and hopefully know by watching this, I already own the LP. I had 3 copies. I actually gave some away because I don't need all 3, so I just have 1 now. But I have 2 copies of the patch for that album art. I also have the CD. I would like also the tape, because the tape is badass looking. So if it gets a repress and it looks different, I probably won't bother. But I think it has like the silkscreen overlay, which is really cool looking. So I really enjoy it, and I definitely want to get my hands on it. But it's not a tragedy if I don't, because like I said, I own the CD and LP, so at least I can still listen to the music. And then last but not least would be, and thanks to the interviews recently with Seth, that would be the band Centurion. So I have Of Purest Fire, the EP they did. I have that CD. I guess I could do with an LP, but it's not super important. But I definitely want to get a CD of their second and third album. So that's Coranzonic, Chaos Gods, and Liber Zarzax. And supposedly there's a chance that some of those may end up on Hell's Headbanger site, because as you probably saw if you watched the interview, Seth mentioned he has a few extra copies of the CDs and LPs. So if he does, once those go up for sale, I definitely want to at least grab the CDs of the albums that they have, other than the first EP, because like I said, I already have that. So that is it for this video. That is my wish list. Let me know what's on your wish lists. I do have a more robust one on my Discogs that does include things that are maybe less rare, and it's just keeping them in the back of mind. So for example, the band Space Chaser from Germany, I really enjoy them. I want to own their music. I don't own anything currently, so all their albums on CD, pretty much all the Vader albums I don't own, like any like Merciful Fate, King Diamond I don't own. I mean, I can go on a huge list of just bands where I own most or some or almost all except for one of their albums or EPs, and I just want to fill in the gaps. But that's hundreds and hundreds of bands. But these are sort of the priorities, and then some of the further reacher ones because they're more expensive. So that's what's on my list. Let me know what's on your list, and I will see you in the next video.